Hi, I'm Dr. Vikrant Patil, founder, chief audiologist and speech pathologist at Ear Science Center. Do you or someone you know has a hearing loss and you're thinking about getting hearing devices? If that's the case, do watch this video where I will educate you about the device technology and its ultimate cost. Many a times when people want to buy a hearing device, the first thing they question us is how much does a hearing aid cost? Cost alone will not help you make a decision, and you shouldn't make a decision just based on the cost, because at different price points you get different technology and different performance. So at Ear Science Center, we have an easy way to help our patients decide which hearing technology would be right for them. Now, if you look at the prices alone, they range from few thousand rupees to few lakhs. But then if you had to categorize them, we can easily split them into 4 different categories. These categories are economy devices, basic devices, mid-level devices, and latest technology devices. Now, not every patient would be suitable for each type of technology. So in the next few minutes, let's try and understand which technology would suit what kind of a patient. For this, let's take an example. Imagine a patient who has hearing loss, leads a very quiet lifestyle. When I say quiet, that means that person is predominantly at home with his family, just watches TV, and he rarely steps out. Now, deciding a type of device for this kind of a patient would be different compared to, let's say, another example where a patient is kind of retired but still semi-active. That means he's at home but also steps outside on a weekly basis to go to a bank, post office, etc. So this kind of a gentleman would require a different type of a device. And I'll tell you the reasons why later on in this video. There could be another gentleman who has hearing loss but who leads a very active lifestyle. Someone who is working, someone who meets a lot of people, someone who is interacting with groups of people, and if we had to help him here, we would look at a different type of device. So by now you must have realized that selection of hearing device is not just based on the cost, but it's actually based on the listening needs. Now let's take a deep dive and understand. When our hearing was normal, we were able to hear speech and our ears were actually able to control the background noise. So if someone like me or someone who has a normal hearing was interacting at home, we would be fine. But the moment we stepped into a market or a function, let's say a marriage party, we would still be able to communicate because our ears help us to focus on speech and cut down noise. But once you have hearing loss, especially sensory neural type of hearing loss, the ear loses the ability to cut down on background noise. And that's when a hearing aid needs to come in to the rescue. So let's look at these categories of devices. As I had mentioned, there were 4 categories. There was economy, basic, mid-level, and latest tier technology. Now, if you look at economy devices, these hearing aids do not have efficient noise reduction. So that means if someone wore this device and was wearing it in a noisy place, this particular person would struggle to hear what's being said and will get annoyed because of the noise coming in. You must have heard some people saying, oh, don't get hearing aids, they are noisy. This can happen if they are economy type of devices. Just for your information, economy type of devices can range anywhere between 10 to 15,000 rupees. Now let's move ahead. Let's talk about basic technology devices. Now these devices are meant for a person who is retired and mainly at home. Now in a home environment, there's not much of background noise. So there could be just simple noises like, say, a fan or a AC humming or some kitchen utensils. That's it, right? So in such a scenario, we don't need high-tech, high-technology noise reduction. a basic automatic noise reduction would help. So that means this type of devices would realize that there's some noise and cut it down by a fraction of amplitude. So this makes it easier for the patient to be comfortable at home. Now keep in mind, basic devices are meant for indoor environments or quiet places. So we recommend these type of devices for someone who is retired and at home most of the time. If you're curious about the prices, typically a basic technology device, irrespective of the company, would range anywhere between 25,000 to 35,000 rupees each. Now, what if the patient wanted to hear well outdoors where it's more noisy? So, in such a scenario, a basic technology device won't be enough. In that case, we recommend what's called as a mid-tier devices. Now, the simple difference is a mid-tier device has additional layers of noise reduction. So if a patient stepped outside, the device would automatically realize that the patient is outdoors, there's a lot of extra noise. This device would then cut down on additional noise, keeping the patient comfortable, helping him understand speech. Now keep in mind, these type of devices are recommended for someone who is semi-active. That means he's at home and steps outside to meet friends, goes to a bank, post office. You get the idea. But these devices are not meant for large group discussions. So these are good for one-on-one discussions at home and outdoors. A price point for this kind of device would range anywhere between 50,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees per device. That's a huge price range. But then within that, we as audiologists would help you determine which type of device would be accurate. Now let's step even further. Now if you look at latest technology devices, these are meant for a patient who says, I want to hear not only at home, not just outdoors, but I also want to hear in groups. So when I say groups, it could be a group of 5 or 7 people. Now for a hearing device, listening in groups, it's a challenging task. They are not perfect, but they have improved a lot. So if listening in groups is important to a person, then we always recommend the latest technology devices to make it easier. Keep in mind, it's not going to get perfect, but it will make it easier for the person in a group to understand speech most of the times. So what does the latest technology device do, which a basic or mid-level is not doing? Apart from cutting down noise, latest technology devices have what's called as a beam forming microphone. A technical term, but what it basically does is the microphone acts kind of like a radar. So wherever the person is talking, it can focus on that particular angle. So let's say if the patient was in front and talking to a friend in front, it would focus on that. If someone talked on the left side, it can focus on the left or right. So helping the patient understand speech better. So they are quite smart, and that's why we categorize them as latest technology. Now, in terms of price point, if you think about latest technology devices, irrespective of the company, they can range anywhere between 2 lakh rupees to 3.5 lakhs rupees each. And these devices are recommended only when a patient has a demanding listening scenario. So, a quick recap. What did we see in this video? We saw that devices are not just selected not just based on the price, and you shouldn't be selecting device just based on the price. Irrespective of the company, we can categorize them into 4 levels. They are economy, basic, mid-level, and latest. Now, economy hearing aids are priced very low, but the performance is also low. Basic devices are meant for a person who is predominantly indoors and doesn't step outside in noisy places. Whereas a mid-level device helps the person not only indoors but also outdoors, like post bank, post office, markets, one-on-one conversations. But these devices are good for one-on-one conversations in noise. But if patient wanted to listen to groups of people, say 5 or 10 people, like in a meeting functions, etc., then they need to step up to a latest technology device. So with this, keep in mind that the ideal steps of getting devices would be: get your ear examined by a qualified audiologist. Be aware there are a lot of quacks who talk that they are audiologists, but they're not. So always check for certification. Make sure you're getting your hearing tested by a qualified audiologist. Don't select the devices based on price. Understand your lifestyle needs and then select. If you think this video helped you and you or one of your loved ones would like to visit our center, you could do that. There is contact details at the end of this video. And if you have any other questions, you could always email to our team at Ear Science Center. Wish you a happy hearing. This is Dr. Vikrant Patil signing off. Thank you.